When on a collision course with the future, you can either adapt and survive or be left behind. Windsor-Essex chose the third option: help define the future and thrive. As a global leader in the development and implementation of automation technologies, we're the ones that build things that build things. With over 2,000 acres under glass, we bring low-touch, high-tech agriculture to the rest of North America. And we have over 1,000 manufacturers in our region with a particular expertise in automotive, aerospace, food processing, pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, and medical devices. Combine all that with a quality of life that celebrates outdoor lovers, sports fans, festival goers, and everyone in between, and you just may have discovered what you're looking for. Windsor-Essex, where Canada begins. Visit ChooseWindsorEssex.com to learn more.
Welcome everyone to Reboot the World. We are so excited to have Jenny Brown with us for a new normal for all workers. Take it away, Jenny.
Thank you. Super excited to be a part of this conference, and I've been looking forward to it for a long time. So yes, my name is Jenny Brown, and I'll be talking about a new normal for all workers. And I know this year in particular, we've been talking a lot about a new normal in many ways. But the new normal I will be speaking to today from my personal story is around inclusion in the workplace and embracing the differences of others, and particularly including people with disabilities into the workplace and opening up talent pipelines of talent to include people that have a diagnosed disability, and recognizing the talent and value that they bring to the workplace. And so I'm going to dive a little bit into my story and how I got to where I am today with my company, Everybody by Dutton Farm. And so I own a social enterprise called Everybody by Dutton Farm. It's a low-profit limited liability company. And that kind of stemmed out of a nonprofit. So I want to talk about how somebody like me, so I am a mom of 5, and how I became the CEO of a nonprofit and then started a social enterprise whose mission was to bring inclusivity into the workplace while also building a brand and showcasing that a business can be profitable while also being inclusive. So how did I get from where I was? This has been a 10-year journey. A mom of 2, now I'm a mom of 5, and becoming a CEO of a nonprofit and building a brand. So Everybody is a natural bath and body brand. We manufacture natural bath and body products and distribute them all over the country. And to do that, we use an unconventional workforce. A lot of our workforce is individuals who have spent 1, maybe 2 decades unemployed. And that's the individuals we intentionally seek out. And so it's been a fantastic journey. Definitely has had its challenges, but overall has been an absolutely incredible journey that I wouldn't change for anything. Growing up, just to kind of really back up to the impetus of what got me very concerned about employment and community access for people with disabilities. I grew up in a house that was very, very passionate about social justice. And rejecting the status quo. Some of my earliest memories are, we grew up going to church, but my father would often skip out on the Bible studies or the church groups that were held traditionally or regularly. And we would go into different parts of town that dealt with more lower socioeconomic status. And we would go and hang out and build relationships and meet people. And really, he, from a young age, taught me that differences are important and differences are good. And there is no superiority. We are all equals, and we are just people that should always take care of each other and look out for each other. And that just really was something that was planted deep inside of me at a young age. And I have to talk about where that passion my family has for social justice started. And that really is my sister, Becca. So I have an amazing sister that I'm gonna show you on my next slide. So she's the picture of the beautiful young woman to the far right. And these other photos are my employees, some of my employees. And my sister, Becca, was born with Down syndrome. And growing up, her and I, our house was this perfect picture of what inclusion should look like. I played basketball. She was a cheerleader. I would go celebrate her and cheer her on as she was a cheerleader at her school. And she would come and cheer me on where I was playing basketball. Her friends would hang out with my friends, and her friends would be over our house. My friends would be over our house, and we were all just hanging out together, and it was very normal. And that is a huge reason that our family is passionate about equality for all people. And as I grew up, I started to realize that not everyone had that same viewpoint, unfortunately. And a memory I had was when I got my license, and my sister Becca, who was 10 years older than me, didn't have her license, and how that was something that I kind of seamlessly transitioned to, was something that, she wasn't able to do. And as I grew older, there were more and more experiences like that. So I graduated high school and went on to play college basketball, and was pursuing my bachelor's degree in political science and sociology. And I earned my bachelor's degree, and I had every intention of becoming a lawyer. And as I transitioned through these different phases of adulthood, I could not ignore the fact that my sister was not able to have these same experiences that I had. She wasn't able to jump in her car and drive down the street and apply at a job and get hired easily. I am not proud of the fact that I would be able to drive down the street, get a job somewhere. A couple weeks later, maybe I just took the job for granted, didn't show up, or, clocked out early if I wasn't supposed to and get fired. Well, no big deal. I could just drive a little bit farther down the street and get a job somewhere else. And so as I watched my sister's personality start to change, I knew that I had to do something. She was always just the most exuberant, joyful person. And she had so many talents to offer. She's a brilliant artist, and she has incredible social skills. And they weren't being valued. What people saw was Down syndrome. And then beyond that, they weren't able to see the value that she was able to bring to the world. And so I ended up really doing a 180 and starting a nonprofit. And when I started the nonprofit, it was, of course, because I wanted something for my sister, Becca, something meaningful for her to do every day, and somewhere where she could be included, where she could be respected and have dignified employment. And so I came across some statistics that I'll share with you all, and they were mind-blowing to me. The first one is that 85% of adults with developmental disabilities are unemployed. 85%. It's an astronomical number that a lot of people don't know. And of the 15% of individuals that are employed, over half of those individuals are paid sub-minimum wages, less than minimum wage, because they have a developmental disability. And that number just hit me like a meteor. The second one was that people with disabilities are twice as likely to live in poverty, and 3 times as likely to be bullied as adults. And so that was just kind of the turning point where I knew that I needed to be a part of the solution to these massive statistics and really touch human lives that were being affected by these numbers. And so I really want to encourage you. I was very young when I decided to start this 10 years ago, early 20s. And it's young to me now. And I had 2 kids. And if you have something that you're passionate about, you can't start backwards. I want to have a social enterprise, or I want to own a business to affect change. You have to know what you're passionate about first. What do you care about? And then start with what you have. I didn't have much to start, but I started with what I had, and I wasn't afraid to take a risk to spark change. And so I really encourage you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have everything perfected. But if you're really passionate about something and you care deeply, you're going to naturally be creative and innovative and have the grit to solve the problems that are going to come your way day after day after day. And then before you know it, like myself, you're going to have 100 people in your program that were once unemployed and home and not able to explore their gifts and their talents and not feel a part of a community. And all of a sudden, you're going to look around and you're going to be like, wow, this is pretty special. I can't believe I'm here. So when we first started, it was just a few people. It was 4 or 5 people. And we just had a few acres. And I started this nonprofit called Dutton Farm. And the goal was to create access to community, access to higher education, job training, and access to employment and workforce development, to be a part of a workforce development program. And like I said, we started with just a few people. I really didn't understand the world of nonprofit, but I knew I was building something pure and raw and authentic and genuine. And I think that purity and that passion drew people to want to be a part of what was going on. And it started to just grow day in and day out. We just would show up every day. I went from just really hanging out with some pretty amazing people as we learned together. I was not superior in any way. We were equals. I was learning as much from them as they were from me. And we just grew together. And we were this beautiful community. And before I knew it, like I mentioned, we had 100 people in our program utilizing our services. And we were helping to employ people and train people and provide access to community, because another statistic, over 2 million Americans don't leave their homes because they don't have access to transportation to even get into the community, to participate in the community, whether it be shop, volunteer, any of the reasons that we would go out into the community. So that's something we're also very passionate about. But I want to tell you about my friend Marty. And this is how our business aspect kind of was born out of the nonprofit. My friend Marty enrolled in our program after spending a couple of years homeless. And staying in, after those 2 years, he was able to secure an apartment and spent 10 years in his apartment, almost never leaving. So my friend Marty is an incredible human being. He is loyal, he is smart, he is compassionate, he is great with tools, he is great with his hands, he has great social skills. But Marty also has a diagnosed developmental disability as well as mental illness. He has paranoid schizophrenia. And we spent time together learning and growing together. And his biggest dream was to have a job. So about a couple of years into our program, 1.5 years, 2 years into our program, he was really, really adamant. I've, been showing up faithfully and doing all of these things that, learning these new transferable job skills. I really would like to get a job. And so I made a promise to him and said, well, no problem, Marty, we'll get you a job. And I had an unsuccessful job search. Interview after interview, job application after job application, and was not able to secure my friend Marty a job. And I was really discouraged. And I believed in inclusivity in the workplace, not because it was the right or charitable thing to do, but because it's a smart thing to do. Because people with different perspectives, people with different abilities, make a company stronger. And if you look at companies that champion diversity and champion inclusion of people with disabilities, outperform those that don't significantly. Shareholder returns are higher. Gross revenue is higher. Net revenue is higher. The data shows that inclusion is not just charity, it's good for business. And so anyways, I wasn't able to find this gentleman a job. And we were really discouraged, both of us. I mean, months and months and months had gone by. And I had one of the most convicting days of my life as I was really processing my discouragement. And the reason I was so convicted was because to this point, I did not have anyone on my payroll that had a diagnosed developmental disability. I championed it. I championed inclusion, competitive, integrated employment, inclusive employment, and we had done very, very well. While I was so passionate about that, I hadn't had the self-awareness to realize I didn't have anyone on my payroll, and that had to change immediately. And so that's how my social enterprise, Everybody, was born. I needed to create a business model that could generate revenue where I could show the community and anyone that was interested that a truly inclusive workplace could be successful. And so we started with just one bar of soap. It was a natural orange bar of soap. And I hired an aromatherapist to help me come up with this product and then eventually help develop the rest of the line. And I remember going to my first opportunity, which was a bed and breakfast. And the deal of a lifetime, I begged this guy to give me an opportunity to supply him with his soap. And after some shameless groveling to give me a chance, you don't know me, I know I don't have I don't have a track record at all, but please give me this opportunity. He did, and generated the revenue to be able to hire my friend Marty. And that was his first employment. opportunity. And I was so proud of that. And I realized I was really onto something. As we grew our line and developed our line, I had a lot of power to be able to spark change and really impact the unemployment numbers by stimulating the economy and creating jobs. And then I had the power to be able to choose who I wanted to put in those job openings. My friend Marty did go on to get recruited by one of the top medical supply chains in the state of Michigan, which is where I'm from. I'm from right outside the city of Detroit, and became one of their top employees, which was absolutely amazing to me. And then, of course, my sister Becca works for us as well. So like I mentioned, Everybody by Dutton Farm is a bath and body line that has a mission to supply natural and high quality body products while removing barriers to employment and community access for people with disabilities. So from one bar of soap, we were able to go to a full line of products, and we've shipped to all 50 states in the country, created thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of employment to those who otherwise would be unemployed. And we are integrated. So all of my employees are not folks with developmental disabilities. It's 50%. And the other 50% are the folks that we would consider neurotypical. And I think that's important because when we want to really make progress, we have got to be intentional about equality and working alongside people who have all differences, but I'm focusing on differences of ability and being able to receive and benefit from people with developmental disabilities. I'll tell you that my sister Becca, when she received her first paycheck from Everybody, the first thing she wanted to do was take me out to coffee and buy my coffee. And to her, that meant respect. That meant dignity. You know, they say, I think it is better to give than to receive. I think there's a certain power in being a giver, and to be able to switch the tables and allow somebody that hasn't been offered that opportunity to give and to showcase their talent and to add value with their God-given talent is a pretty remarkable thing to experience. So this is kind of the foundation of our company. We believe in inclusion and empowerment. It's not enough to include, we empower people to be independent, to have economic opportunity, to have buying power of themselves. Because, you know, every time you spend your money, you're casting a vote for what kind of world you want to live in. And we're offering that to the people that we employ. We believe in connection and community. We want to be a profitable company, but being a profitable company to me is how many lives you can impact and how many people you can empower. And we are a community of people that, you know, we're all leaders in some way, and we all learn from each other, and we grow together, and we support each other when we're down or when we're weak. We take care of each other. And all of us has our weekdays, right? But there's nothing in the world like going into a workplace where you know there's real community. And I could be I've had a terrible morning for whatever reason, or just, you know, not feeling my best. And I walk into work and I get a smile or an encouraging word or a pre-COVID-19 bear hug. And there's you can't put a price tag on having a community as a workplace. And then again, lastly, creativity and innovation. And this kind of goes back to what I said previously. when you're really passionate about something, you have to care about something first, genuinely, authentically care about something deep in your heart and in your soul. And it could be, a variety of things. There's lots of things in the world to care about. I mean, it could be, human trafficking and foster care and, a whole host of other things. There's lots of issues that the world needs humans who care. That sparks creativity and innovation and problem solving and being flexible and adjusting and figuring out how to build something and overcome obstacles because you are so focused on the mission. And that will attract the right people to support what you are trying to do. And one of those people that I fortunately attracted was a gentleman named Kevin. Let's see if I have a picture of Kevin. So Kevin is the gentleman down here. And he was somebody that we hired, I think, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe. And he had never had the opportunity for employment. He was in his late 30s. So, you're at working age at 18, so almost 2 decades unemployed. A smart, capable, and credible human being that does have a developmental disability. You can see he does walk with a walker here. An incredible human, an absolutely incredible human, somebody that we needed on our team, somebody that brought so much value to our team. And I'll tell you what, when I was able to offer Kevin a job, there was no feeling in the world like it. The look on his face and the commitment he has to everybody, and the attitude he comes into work every day with, and how he treats his coworkers, and how much, he puts 150% into his work every single day he comes in, every single day. Never shows up late, rarely takes a day where he's just not working unless he's sick or something like that. He absolutely loves his job, but his very first paycheck, I should say his very first paycheck, it meant so much to him, he didn't cash it for a long time because it was so important to him. But the first paycheck that he cashed, he took his mom out to dinner, and his mom was weeping and came up to me and said, "That's something that I almost dared not hope for. I wanted him to live in a world where he mattered and he was included and he was respected. And this was something deep down inside that I was too scared to hope for." And when he was able to take his mother out to dinner, it was an incredible thing to be a part of. It makes this entire process and every challenge we do experience so worth it. And so proud to have these incredible team members on my team. So here, this is another one of our team members. His name is Jacob, and he's on our production team, our manufacturing team. This here is my friend John Simmons, and he is on our sales team, and he is incredible with money, and he has incredible social skills as well. And this is my friend Haley. She's very exact and incredible on our production team as well. An incredible team. That's not everybody, but that's just a few of our employees. So I want to kind of leave you with some action items and just some inspiration. And it's simple, but I always need reminded of this. We all have such power, and sometimes we forget how powerful we are as human beings because we have choices. I'm a big advocate of a lot of things, but two things in particular with the nonprofit that I run and our company. Self-determination and self-advocacy, self-representation, you can call it a lot of different things, but everyone should have choice over their lives, especially as adults. So I'm a big proponent of that, and also presuming competence. But in kind of that vein of choice, you have a choice where you work. You have a choice of where you spend your money. And like I said earlier, every dollar that you spend, you're casting a vote for the kind of world that you want to live in. And you can shop intentionally with your buying power, and making sure you're supporting the things that you care about, because there are companies that have incredible foundations of diversity and solving big complex problems. Business is one of the most powerful tools in the world to be able to spark change and solve big problems. And if you just take the time to do a little bit of research and find the companies that support what you believe in and are helping solve problems that you care about, you can use your dollar to be a part of that change, be a part of something bigger than just that transaction. And also, choosing where you work, and making sure that where you work also cares about those things that you care about. And it's something that you can marry together, your work and your passion of, we all have that itch. We all have something inside of us that wants to make the world a better place. And you don't want to just feel like you're clocking in and clocking out, not a part of a company that's making the world a better place and creating what kind of the title is, this new normal for all workers. That includes you. And so find out what you care about, and then live your life, those small moments, intentionally to marry your life with what you care about. And just along with what you care about, make sure that you embrace differences and you include people that are different than you, and those that have different abilities than you do. And in those small decisions that you make every day in your life, choose wisely. That's the end.
Well, thank you so much, Jenny. So we do have a couple of questions for you. And for our viewers, if you have any questions that you want us to ask Jenny, or if you want more clarification, please definitely send them over in the chat. We'll be able to ask her. But Jenny, our first question is, what has been the hardest aspect of growing your business?
The hardest aspect of growing the business is the unknown. Entrepreneurs naturally have to be risk takers, and there's so much unknown in growing a business. And so being able to tolerate a level of risk and being unafraid and starting with what you have and then letting amazing things happen. When we first started, we didn't have a ton of capital up front. And I really felt drawn to the city of Pontiac, which is outside of Detroit, and it's a city that needs a company like everybody. And I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I just took a step of faith with the company, and a large enterprise offered us space for $1 a year. I never would have seen that coming, but I think not being afraid of the unknown is something that was really hard for me to overcome.
Definitely good to know. So since you mentioned, are there any other programs out there like yours?
So the hybrid program that we have, so there's other social enterprises that provide employment for people with and without developmental disabilities, inclusively. And there's other nonprofits that provide the services that we do. But the hybrid of both of them kind of complementing and benefiting each other, I haven't seen the hybrid of nonprofit and L3C working together. Maybe I just haven't come across it yet, but not that I know of.
Gotcha. So we have one question. If someone who maybe doesn't own a business, but they still want to help individuals with disabilities, how do you suggest that they get to the resources, or how do you suggest that they can go and help?
There's a variety of ways that you can help. You could volunteer at something like Special Olympics. I mean, Special Olympics is global. So that's an incredible experience. I've done that before, and you walk away truly a changed person. And, you know, where you spend your money. There's other social enterprises, not just mine. There's coffee businesses and there's granola businesses, lots of other businesses that are intentional about dignified employment for people with disabilities. And so when you think about a purchase that you have to make, it's $5, $10 purchase, you know, benefiting a company that supports people with disabilities.
Got it. Cool. So it looks like our last question coming through would be, is there a moment or achievement that you are most proud of?
There's a lot of incredible moments that I've been privileged enough to experience. But probably the most is hiring my sister, Becca, and being able to work together as partners. Something that is really special to me.
That's super heartwarming. And I hope everyone has the opportunity like you to, you know, help impact somebody that they love. So thank you so much for your presentation. Again, it was so insightful. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we kind of log off?
No, I just thank you for the opportunity to represent my company and the people that I care about so much. So thank you.
Of course. Well, have a great day. And for everyone who joined us, thank you so much for joining us. And now a shout out to our sponsors.